All right. It is November 1st here in Central Texas, Bell County, to be more precise. And I just produced a video about DJI vlog settings. And in that video, I was wearing the DJI Action 2 on my chest, but I didn't use any of the footage because I didn't follow one of my guidelines. One of my guidelines were test footage. Do some test shots so that way you can look back at it and make sure you can verify your settings and make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to. So that way when you get done, you have footage that you're happy with. And on my camera, for whatever reason, it was aiming kind of not at the sky, but you couldn't see the horizon. You couldn't see the road in front of me as I was walking. So it's kind of like aiming up and you couldn't even see the road. So I just didn't use it. It was aggravating. Even though in that video, I talked about the settings that I was using on the camera that was on my chest. So today, because it's more cloudy and overcast, I'm not walking through shadows as much with bright sun and then shadows from all the trees around here. Today, I switched it up and I'm just using my Action 4. And instead of shooting in D-Log M, which is like a flat color profile where you can do color grading and do different LUTs and actually, if you're good at it, have better footage. I'm just shooting in auto. And I am shooting, since it's a little bit darker, I'm shooting with my brightness set at plus. It's one step, but it's basically, it's one step is 0.3 on the EV as far as exposure value on the camera. And so I'm using, my exposure is 0.3, which is the first step above 0. And then I'm using, there's 1 mile. Then I'm using, so my phone and my watch are probably about, I don't know, 150 yards apart from each other. Anyway, so on my ISO, I have it set at auto, but the parameters are limited to 100 to 3200 ISO to hopefully get a bright enough image in this overcast weather. And then I set my white balance to manual because I wanted to see how it does in these kinds of conditions if I leave my white balance set and I have it at 5200 Kelvin. And how I arrived at that is I went outside and I held the camera in a general fixation that I thought most of the walk would be in, and it hit 5200 and I just went, okay, manual, and I set it at 5200 for that rather than let it be auto white balance. And that's how I'm shooting. Also, I'm still shooting in, am I still shooting? Let me double check. Yep. I'm still shooting in a 4:3 aspect ratio. And the reason I'm doing that is it catches more pixels and I can crop it down later to a 16:9 if I want. I might actually post this as a 4:3 to see how I like it. One of my favorite YouTube guys that I watch, that I'm subscribed to, is Chris Meets Chris. And he shoots like that. He shoots in a 4:3 aspect ratio. And it has, you know, space on the sides of the TV when you're watching it, computer, however you're watching it. black bars on the sides because it's not a 16.9 or by 9 like most people do. But to be honest, you don't really notice it. And so I'm doing that. I don't know if I'm going to crop it down to 16 by 9 later, but I think shooting in 4:3 aspect ratio pays off just because you're capturing more pixels for every frame. And then I'm also using Rocksteady 2 or Rocksteady Plus for my stabilization. I know Chris meets Chris, right, Chris? I'm pretty sure that a lot of times he is shooting in with his action cam, which he uses it. I think he uses an Action 4 just like I do a lot of times. And he's doing it with no stabilization at all, and he's just a lot better at holding his camera still. Because I tried it, it was pretty shaky just because of the way the camera is tilted on the end of the selfie stick, and kind of does a little bit of tilting and bouncing and stuff. Well, that might be too jittery. It might be irritating to watch as a viewer. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna get in my Power Director, which is what I use. And I'm going to do the stabilization through Power Director. It looks terrible. It looks terrible. How is it that a camera that's only this size has better stabilization algorithms than a computer? I mean, a computer program. So I stabilize it just because I'm not good at holding my arm steady as I'm walking. Good morning. So that's how I'm shooting today versus yesterday. And that's one of the things you need to be flexible with is while you're out filming, you need to be flexible and know how to change your settings to make it more effective. In my last video, I shot, like I said, I shot in that flat color profile. And then I attempted to, I didn't use a LUT, but I attempted to bring back some more of the true colors, and I think I overdid it, oversaturated it. Almost like the sky was too blue, too vibrant. And I'm not sure if it was the best attempt. So today I decided, let's just shoot it in auto. Let the camera do it to see what the actual footage looks like compared to how it looks when you do a color grading. 'Cause I'm not that good at it. I tend to overdo it. And then it tends to look less realistic than if I just left it in the flat mode, shooting in 10-bit. So I'm doing that today. And to be honest, these cameras, especially the Action 4, does really well or really good. They're awesome at creating an image that looks good, just in auto. A lot of times people want to use the D-Log or something, whatever your camera calls it, when it records in 10-bit, because you have a lot more colors that are available to do color grading. The gradient is a lot more smooth, and you don't get lines in the sky at different light levels. So, but if you're like me and you're not that good at it, just shoot it with auto, and it's good enough for most people. Until you get better at it. Practice, definitely practice. And sometimes I think a lot of it has to do with your editing software that you're using. I use Power Director, which is from Cyberlink, and I have Power Director 365, so I pay a yearly subscription. And I have access to everything. I tried like DaVinci Resolve, and my computer just could not hang. So if I added one layer of editing, like maybe I wanted to crop a video, my computer just went and it had some serious issues. So I had to get rid of it just because of my computer. I'm sure that's a great editing software, but two things. It was too taxing on my computer, and two, it was a learning curve that I would have had to start over on. So I've been using PowerDirector for a long time. Is it the best editing software? No, probably not. Very few people use it. Most people use, like DaVinci, or I don't even know. But PowerDirector is by far not the most popular, but it's very effective. You can use a free version of it too. It just has a watermark on the image. So that's how I do it. Anyway, so what's the point? The point is, learn your camera on how to make adjustments to where it fits and gives an image quality that's the best that you can achieve without creating too much aggravation. All right, so thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Aloha.